All right, Harpool Middle School, out here in Lantana with Dr. Grindle. First, let's talk about Denton ISD. Why Denton ISD for you?
I actually have spent my entire career in Denton ISD. I began as a teacher and a coach. The district has been so good to me and my family. They have helped grow me into the professional I am. But honestly, most importantly, they've supported my own children. As an educator, you get in it to help kids. And that's what we believe here at Harpool. Having my own children in my system and also in our feeder patterns has kind of shaped the lens at which I do the work that I do. An interesting thing about a lot of our staff is they've had kids come through here too. And so it's personal to us.
So you mentioned a word that when we do these talks with different school leaders, the same word keeps coming up, and it's family. Whether it's your family, your kids coming through the system, your staff's, or your staff treating the kids and the students here like their own family.
Transparently, my husband and I, who moved out to this community for the sake of schools, both of us having experienced smaller schools, made the decision to send our kids to Denton ISD because I knew what was happening in these schools. The amount of support and resources that our kids have, it's unbelievable. And that's for students that may struggle, but that's also for some of our top performing kids. We know that our students are going to be more successful if they're engaged and they're involved. So our teachers offer various opportunities for them from clubs and organizations, from our fine arts, which is highly reputable, to our athletics, which has a very successful track record.
What you just brought up in the fact that you're creating a sense of community within your school, having teachers work these different clubs gives a chance for teachers to connect kids outside of the classroom. And that's so important.
And if my student is struggling, what does intervention for her or him look like? And to be totally honest, JD, that's what I experienced when my oldest was struggling in math. She was struggling in 5th grade in math, and she needed intervention. It was off the coattails of COVID. She may or may not have parents that did an extensive amount of work with her, if I'm being honest. But truly, she came out and she was in 3rd grade during COVID, and so she missed a lot. The elementary school that's in our zone immediately stepped in and began to do this very targeted intervention on her. She caught up and she's on grade level and all of that now, great. But my point is that type of support is what is happening in our schools. When they leave us in 8th grade, be on level or higher and prepared for what's next for them.
You talked about the targeted intervention. So let me just piggyback onto that for a minute. Let's talk about a student who is brand new to your school. Whether it's at the beginning of the year or the middle of the year, how can you and your staff get that background information to see where that student is and plug in that intervention sooner rather than later?
It's a good question. And depending on if the student is coming from a school within Texas versus out of state, that can look very different. But ultimately, when new students enroll here, they, of course, meet with our registrar and our counselors. Our counselors immediately begin to ask them what they did, what they were interested in. The elective piece, I do believe, plays a part in that as far as engaging them immediately, because that allows our counselors to figure out what are they interested in and then begin to offer some options for whether that's a club or an elective to try to get them connected. Academically, they look at what courses they were in. If it's the middle of the year, we're looking at grades. If a student is coming in that's failing, we immediately begin to look at where we need to place them. Chances are, if a student has a failing grade in math, we're going to place them with a math teacher during this intervention time to try to meet them immediately when they start on day one.
What do y'all do during the school year for fun? Allow the teachers kind of mingle in with the students on a more relaxed basis?
Yeah. So every fall we have what we call Longhorn Day. Kids get to go have fun. If they want to buy some food, they buy some food. If they want to go jump on an inflatable, they do that. If they want to just talk to their friends, they do that, which happens a lot. This past year, we actually had a dunking booth for the first time.
Just about to ask, a carnival like that, got to have a dunking booth.
It did, and it was
Was it you?
I actually did go down. I did go down a couple times. So that's a fan favorite that will be back for sure. But it really is fun, and it's fun for our teachers to be able to engage them.
All right, you already touched on extracurriculars. You bragged on athletics and fine arts. Tell me more about electives and the options that students have here at Harpool.
Most of our electives are through career and technology education. That can be things from lifetime wellness and nutrition, principles of human services, robotics, engineering, principles of business and marketing, principles of business and finance, and digital media. We know that when they come to us in 6th grade, they probably don't know what they want to do with the rest of their life. And to be honest,
I still don't.
Right. But what we can do here is help them hone in on that. When they're in 8th grade, they begin to develop their course plan for high school. We all know about these 6 board goals, and they guide everything we do. And one of those board goals is about us graduating students that are college, career, military, and life ready. We play a part in that at middle school by exposing them to different elective opportunities. They have to put something on paper, and they have to come up with a 4-year plan that they graduate on. It's called an endorsement. And so for us, what opportunities can we give them that can help guide that moving in?
Giving them ownership. They have to write out their plan. I want to make sure we don't overlook that you are empowering these kids to choose their future and not going, this is the way.
Once a month we offer to parents what we call them coffee talks. And each month we have a different topic that we are sharing. It's totally voluntary. We communicate ahead of time what the topic is. If parents think that it's applicable to them and they want to come, then they come, and we welcome them. And it's in the morning, and we have coffee and food, and it's an opportunity for counselors and administrators to talk with parents about that. Every single morning there's a different activity happening in here. If this was in the morning, like 7:45, you wouldn't be able to hear me because the kids would just be, man, it's so loud, and they're constant, and they're doing, and they're talking, and it's just the coolest thing. This is honestly, this is the hub of our school right here where we're standing.
I appreciate everything that you're sharing with us so that everybody else can know how great Harpool is.
Well, thank you.
So I appreciate you.
Yes, of course, of course.